Quickly, Godzilla used his mass to his own advantage, recoiling back and wailing against the shell of Gamera. The force pushed down on the turtle's chest, and he roared in agony just as Godzilla made his next move. With brute force, the demon straight from hell wrapped his fingers around Gamera's arm and pulled hard. Pain then struck throughout Gamera's limb, and he reared himself back in defense. With his free hand, the turtle drew his claws deep into Kaiju Alpha's side. He drew blood and made the monster let go and step back. He scrunched his face in the process and held the wound to control the bleeding. Gamera then battled his way forward to the point he almost stood over his enemy triumphantly, despite the constant throbbing of pain in the wound of his arm. Gamera opened his mouth and bit deep upon Godzilla's shoulder. His tusks were the first to pierce the skin, the red blood shooting upwards from his gash. Kaiju Alpha growled in pain, then lit up his spikes and shot out a blast of atomic breath directly in the hole that allowed Gamera's head to extrude from the shell. Green blood exploded directly into his face and dripped down the turtle's stomach. Both backed away and licked their wounds and readied for another round. Both breathed heavily as they calmed down, locked eyes, moving slowly with calculation. Both knew their wounds were terrible. Both knew that one was going down. Both did not want it to be themselves. Hello, insects of YouTube. It is Adam Noyce from Adam Noyce. And why did I read that little bit of a section from Godzilla the Immortal to you? And that is because despite the fact that I'm going to be talking about my Mothra series in this video, basically what I'm going to do is I wanted to reassure you guys that I am still making my Godzilla series. In fact, this Mothra stuff that I'm going to tell you, I'm not even going to attempt to write anything with my Mothra series until I get my Godzilla series done and completed. Okay, now that that's out of the way, what do I mean by that? What I mean is, once I finish writing all 4 of these Godzilla books and I get to the point that I'm happy and I release it to you guys, and I'm very happy that you guys are very enthralled in wanting to see this series, I will only then start writing my Mothra saga. Now, in the meantime, like this video that I'm going to explain here, I will write characters, I will write the overall plot, I will, basically an outline, I will do this, that, and a whole shit and caboodle, but I won't write it. That's the key thing, is that I won't write it. I am too deeply involved in writing my Godzilla saga to even begin to think about the Mothra saga in general. Now, this is also going to be a break in between, the 3 parts that are left in Congratulations, a Neon Genesis Evangelion retrospective. And that is because of a couple of things. One, I'm still editing episode 25 and 26 of Congratulations. You guys are going to enjoy it, especially you fans of Evangelion. 2, and this is the biggest reason, I've moved. Though you might not be able to tell, though you might, if you're a fan of my videos, you'll kind of see that the lighting's different and shit like that. I moved, and so I'm still working out the whole thing with this area, and how I'm going to shoot, and no, I'm not. I'm going to ignore that. We're about to do SOS. And that's not what... And because I've moved, I'm still figuring things out, so it might be a while before I really get back into the gist of things. Like, just when let's actually talk about what I'm, supposed to actually, kind of talk about, and that is the Mothra saga. Now, I did talk about it, for you who follow SOS, I did talk about it in great detail in that. However, I'm going to redo it here because, let's be quite honest, I was a little out of it, if you know what I mean, in that video. Or in that chat. And of course, I was going to write 4 books, just like I approached my Godzilla stuff. And of course, I was dubbing it Mothra Saga Universe, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you already know this. The first book is called Mothra. That's it. Second book is called Mothra 2 Desolation. Next one is Mothra 3 Retribution. And then there's Mothra 4 Rebirth. And I did choose those titles very deliberately. They all have something to do with each theme of each film. And this is a very in-depth universe that I'm going to explain throughout the 4 books, but I'm just going to lay it out to you here because it is very different than the Mothra Mythos in either the Showa series or either in the Heisei or even fucking the Millennium series, what little she has in that. So I want to know what you guys think. I want you to leave a comment. I want you to like the video. I want you to dislike the video if you absolutely fucking hate it. I want to know if I'm going in the right direction or not. So let me just read this to you and see what we like. So let's talk about the Mythos. The Mythos is the first thing that I actually wrote, the creation. In the beginning, God created beast and man. No, they didn't, but whatever. In the beginning, before the creation of Earth, there was this massive war between 2 forms of beings. You have the angels, who are basically the good guys, that you're like, woo, yeah, we can root for those fuckers. And they're headed by these 2 beings known as the Cosmos. Oh, now before I get any further, I also would like to mention that this does not take place in the same continuity as my Godzilla series. Does not. This is completely different. Anyways, they are headed by these 2 beings called the Cosmos. And they're basically these 2 beings with godlike powers, and they're the leaders of this group called the Angels, which I already explained were the good guys. And then you have the opposite of the Angels, you have the demons, who are the bad guys. And they were at one time angels, but they were corrupted by something. And I'll admit that I haven't created that thing yet. I don't have the nice blind spot on my page, so I figured that out. And they are headed by a single being known as Batra, who is like the Cosmos, but unbelievably evil. The combined powers of the Cosmos overwhelm Batra, and they both die, exerting all their energy into confining the demons. Now, they kill all the other demons except for Batra. Batra is too powerful for them to kill. Now, and another reason why Batra actually loses is because the Cosmos are 2 beings. Because the Cosmos are 2 beings, they overpower Batra and basically just hinder him and keep him confined to the point that he can't really do anything anymore. And that's the gist of how that goes down. The Cosmos die in the process, and we'll get into that just a little bit later. In order for them to confine Batra, they have to die, and when they do die, shit hits the fan, or whatever, and stuff like that. Now, after the Angels' victory over the demons, they build a planet they call Earth. Well, that's where we are, so of course I'm going to make it Earth. And the dominant species are the humans, us, who are intended on being the physical forms of the angels. So we've taken the angels' image. We were created in their own image. A Bible reference, and I specifically put that in there. However, the angels' victory was not complete because Batra is still technically alive. The angels' victory was not complete. The humans were born from the Garden of Eden, which is where we all originated from, with something called free will. Now that was the catch. We are all inherently good from birth, but as our experience grows on, from time to time, this is my philosophy and I threw it in there, you have the choice to become good or evil. Though it's definitely not as black and white as that, and I make that a point in this series, that's kind of what I wanted to go for. And then the Shobijin are born from the Cosmos. They are essentially the offspring of the Cosmos. And the Shobijin, they're not immortal. They live and they die. They live and they die. They live and they die. It's a generational thing. Now the Shobijin are born from the Cosmos as the Guardians of Peace. One red, one blue. And they create the Neo-Angel. They create a Neo-Angel called Mothra for their protector. Now, Mothra is created from Batra, which is already something that is vastly different from anything done with Mothra before. Batra was originally created from Mothra. In this, it's the opposite way around. Now let's talk about Earth. The year is 1066 AR, which stands for After Rebirth. And most of the planet has been destroyed in some kind of massive war, and the only inhabitable part of Earth is a continent called Otium, which means peace in Latin. Now the geography and climate of this place is very warm and jungle-like, many mountains, lots of rain, they have a rainy season, and they have no winters because of this. Now, it's hinted at that what has caused the destruction of Earth in general was some kind of nuclear war. It's hinted at, I never say exactly what it is, because it's kind of being kept a secret, but it is hinted that it is a nuclear war that literally annihilated most of the other planet other than this area. And that is where the rest of the world, the survivors of the epidemic, come. Now this, of course, is 1,066 years after whatever happened that caused the technical end of the world. And so by now there's a society that's been built, there's a government, which I'll get into that a little later, and so on and so forth. So this is a very embedded society as of right now. What remained of Earth has come together on Otium and has rebuilt a republic-based society, and it is also an extremely futuristic society. I'm going to venture off here for a little bit. Now, I want to say here that where my Godzilla series is very science, it's very black and white, and though fantastic in that science, it's not so much that it's fantastical, if you get what I mean. It's very sci-fi-esque, but it's very science-related. The colors are very down-to-earth, and everything is very grounded, if you understand what I mean, if you know what I'm going for. This, I wanted to go the complete opposite direction with. Not only is this very futuristic, but the universe itself is extremely outlandish. There's a lot of colors, vibrant colors at that. Almost as if this was being colored by the old style of Technicolor, which, if you know what Technicolor was, Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, very bright colors, and so on and so forth. And so I wanted this to be the opposite of that. In fact, something else that I failed to mention in the SOS video is that basically science and religion, two things that don't mesh at all, are the same thing in this universe. There is literally no difference between what is science and what is religion. Now let's get into the classes of this universe. Classes wear designated colors of all sorts of uniforms, be it a t-shirt or dress uniform or PT clothing, etc. They always wear these kind of colors, and that starts from the age of 18 up. Below that, there's a designated uniform for them. Workers, they wear dark red with black belts. They don't care what color pants they wear, which that is 70% of the populace of Otium. The governmental personnel, they wear dark green tops with black bottoms. So they wear a dark green shirt, black pants. That's what they look like. You'll know that they're in a government if you see that. The authoritas, or the police, wear dark blue tops and black bottoms. So anyway, if you see dark blue, they're with the police. They're with the authoritas. The military people, they always wear these colors no matter what. No mix meshing, nothing. They always wear this no matter what, even if they're in their civvies. Even if they've retired from the military and gone into a civilian life, they still wear these colors. Their dress uniforms are all white, bottoms and top. And the buttons depend on which branch they are. Like if they're red, they're in the Army. If they're gold, they're in the Navy, so on and so forth. And their Army combat uniforms are either dark blue or dark green. That depends on which branch they're in. Intellectuals, which are the teachers and the scientists and so on and so forth, wear a dark shade of orange for tops. They wear a dark shade of orange for tops. And usually white or a dark gray for bottoms. And then the students, which those are people from anywhere from 5 to, well, basically when they're born until the age of 18. They wear white tops for girls, gray for boys, and either black or navy blue bottoms. Again, very colorful, very, very regimented in this universe. And then, of course, that is the continent of Otium. Now, this is what I've added since there is a floating continent, literally because by 1066 the population has grown too much for Otium alone. They built at the same time this very artificial floating continent that literally rotates with the moon. That's essentially what it does. It rotates with the moon on, I think, the 45th parallel. And I describe it literally as a floating continent home to millions upon millions of people. They follow the same laws overall as Otium, and they have an artificial soil, which, of course, grows trees, grass. They have streets up there. They have cities up there. They have schools up there, etc., etc., etc. It literally is nothing but a floating continent. Now, they are guarded by a troop known as the Legion. Now, the Legion wear silver-like armor with red shoulder pads. Now, these are armors. These are not uniforms. They are armor. That is all they wear. And they are extremely feared, but yet also respected. Only have one jurisdiction. The only way of... they are the people that have jurisdiction on Otium. They are, to quote Judge Dredd, the law. They hold that pure jurisdiction. They are the ones that say you are guilty or you are innocent. Not a trial. You don't have a trial. They see it as black and white. You're either innocent or you're guilty. Now, they believe in the whole purpose of you're innocent until proven guilty. But they are the ones that make the judgment calls. We can get into a whole ethical thing about that, but whatever. And they are headed by a man known as Caesar. Now, Caesar is essentially the dictator of Otium, though he's agreed mutually to follow the same laws as Otium, other than the fact that he is the head of Otium, if that makes any sense. Now, Caesar... and just, the current Caesar, there's multiple Caesars, but the current Caesar during these stories... he's an ambitious man who is a good he has a good heart, and he wants to do what's best for Sanctuarium. However, he has to keep his power source on Sanctuarium a secret from the rest of the world because of the controversy of what that power source is, which I'll get to. What's going on either. Not even the angels know, or the surviving angels, they don't even know what the hell's going on. They don't even know what is powering Sanctuarium. It's kept a major secret, and there's only a handful of people that know about it, and Caesar is one of them. In fact, it's Caesar's main purpose is to keep that a secret. Is the power source of Sanctuarium, what keeps it floating, what keeps it protected, and so on and so forth. Now, also, Sanctuarium holds the complete history of Earth prior to Rebirth. They prior to the war, basically. Before the war annihilated most of the planet, in something called the Great Library, which houses all of this information. Now, you're thinking of books and stuff like that. No, it's basically nothing but a bunch of, like, a massive computer. You walk into this massive room, and there is a single computer in the center of the room. That is a Great Library. It is just a computer. That is the Great Library. Now, I'm not meaning like a laptop in the middle of a desk or something like that, like what I've got here. No, this is like a huge motherfucking thing that has holograms that show up. It shows maps of the stars. It's a beautiful, beautiful creation, but there's only one of them, and that's in the Great Library. Now, the secret of Sanctuarium, which I'm about to reveal to you right now, is that they are housing Batra, the physical form of Batra. Not like the caterpillar thing that fights Mothra, but like the angel form, the demon form of Batra, who I describe as almost like a young kid. He's not anything over the top. He's just he looks like a normal person. Now, the real Batra is the source of Sanctuarium's power. Basically, they've been able to harness Batra and use that power to both levitate Sanctuarium and so on and so forth. And the Neo-Demon, of course, because I explained already that Mothra is the Neo-Angel, there are the Neo-Demons, which I'll get into a little later, but the Neo-Demon form of Batra, which is the caterpillar moth thing, its main goal is to reunite with the real Batra. None of the other Neo-Demons do that. Only the Neo-Demon Batra wants to reunite with that physical form. And once that happens, shit hits the fan, and we'll describe that a little later. Now, the Shobijin. Now, the Shobijin, if not in their human forms, they appear as either blue or red glowing spheres of energy that hover. That's the only way I could really describe them. Now, we have Laura, which I haven't decided on her last name yet, but we'll get into her backstory a little bit here. She is the red Shobijin, and she loves her emotions. In fact, like, all of her decisions are made on emotions. She is curious about humanity and decides to be born into their world from infancy to experience a normal human life. She's adopted by a gay couple, one which is in the OSDF, the Otium Self-Defense Forces, and the other is a simple worker. She becomes a bit of a tomboy as she grows and is always aware of her actual self. Now, I've actually changed that a bit. She kind of forgets that she's one of the Shobijin until there is a life-threatening situation that happens, but we'll talk about that a little later. And then there's Mal. Now, Mal is the blue Shobijin, who is in love with logic. Basically, she is the Spock of this universe, where she sees everything as logic and everything is in black and white. The only person that she ever shows emotions to is Gabriel, and we'll get into Gabriel, that really awesome total badass, a little bit later. And again, she's the complete and total opposite. She comes off as heartless because of it. Now, let's talk about Archangel. Archangel is basically a military organization that's sole purpose is the monitoring of both the existing angels and the neo-demons that remain after that war that created the planet. They know about Laura. That is the thing. They know that she is the physical incarnation of one of the Shobijin. And even set up a family to adopt her without that family knowing. They put her in the hands, and we'll get into that a little later, but they put her in the hands of a family they know that will love her unconditionally and give her the life that not only Laura would be looking for, but the one that she deserves. Now, Archangel is run by an individual named Gabriel, who no one knows his real name. That's just his nickname. Gabriel. That's all anybody calls him. He's aware. He's the one that knows about Laura's descendants to Earth. He basically knows everything there is to know. He is like Jesus right now on Earth. And we'll get into that. We'll actually get into that right now. Gabriel, he's a 600-year-old man. It's very old. He's literally been on Otium his entire life, but he's seen the half-life of Otium, if you get what I mean there. He has an extremely warm heart. He cares deeply for Laura and Mal, and wants to protect the Earth no matter what. He loves the human race. He loves the angels. He is secretly known as the Guardian Angel. Like, that's what the people in Archangel call him. They say Guardian Angel. Instead of saying like General or Colonel, they go Guardian Angel, and he will answer to it, or so on and so forth. And the Guardian Angel is somebody who has had first-level contact with an angel. Now, let's get into what that means. We have first-level contact, which means physical contact with an angel. They can understand their telepathic language and hear the Shobijin songs to Mothra. Yes, the songs are in this universe. Gabriel is the only one of these. That's it. Then we have the second-level contact, which have both... second-level contact people have been chosen directly by an angel to be a disciple for those who are first level. So basically they are to be like the disciples of Gabriel. That is essentially what they are. And then we have third level contact, which third level contact, they have been chosen by those with first/second level contact unanimously to become a disciple, which is extremely hard and extremely rare. Laura's father, one of the fathers, the military one, is a third-level disciple, one of only two, I believe, as I designated. Now, these are the only people that can get involved with Archangel. That organization are people with these levels of contact. A majority of these, of course, are second-level contact. And then you have Gabriel, and then you have third-level contact, which is extremely hard and extremely rare. Now, Kamael, let's get into Gabriel's backstory. Kamael, who is an angel, who was a former Shobijin, became fascinated with the human named Gabriel, and even formed herself into a human and became Gabriel's wife. Over the course of many years, they learned to love each other and stuff like that, and they become married. However, during the birth of their twin children, and decide to call them Laura and Mal, the human form of Kamael dies due to complications, and so do the two twins. They die with her. Now, Gabriel is, of course, devastated by this. However, it is then revealed to Gabriel that she was an angel. He never knew that she was an angel until this moment. And that his two children will be the next Shobijin once she passes away. And that he has been blessed with an extensive life, which he basically ages 7 times slower than a normal human being. I got inspired by the Green Mile. Which can either be a blessing or a curse. It depends on your opinion. Now, Gabriel, being an optimist, he really takes this as a blessing. He has since then been forming Archangel. Even during the series, he's still forming Archangel, with the help of both being in contact with other angels through telepathy and the government officials of Otium. Not Sanctuarium, but Otium. Then in 1050, he becomes aware of one of the children, Laura, becoming a human child, and sets it up so that she will have a loving family to adopt her and raise her carefully, knowing he is too old to care for Laura himself. So he is the Shobijin's father, in all actuality. Let's talk about Mothra. Mothra was created from the physical form of Batra, and we've already kind of discussed this, and can transform into what she is now, and the protector of the Shobijin. That is her sole purpose, is to protect the Shobijin from the possibility of the Neo-Demons. Because all the other demons are dead other than Batra, so what's left over are these Neo-Demons, and the Neo-Demons are bad. She's awoken when Laura's human form is shot by a mugger and she almost dies, Mothra being the Shobijin's protector. We already discussed that. However, let's actually talk about that for a moment. The only reason why Mothra comes back to life is because she was shot. And technically, if it wasn't for the fact that she was a Shobijin, she would have died. A normal human being would have died with a wound like that. Now, why does this wake her up more than anything else? And that's because the only way Mothra can be awakened in this case is if one of the Shobijin has a major life-threatening harm. Basically, only life-threatening harm can affect her, or can waken her, which again is a huge risk on Laura's part, but she's let her emotions get the best of her and became a human. And of course, and just to let you know, if she broke her leg or something like that while playing soccer or some fucking sport like that, that wouldn't wake Mothra because you don't die from breaking a leg. That's not life-threatening. Getting shot is. And, of course, Mothra wakes up. And then Mothra gradually becomes the protector of Earth, not just the Shobijin, as the Neo-Demons resurface, because of Mothra's waking up. Now, of course, it is through this life-threatening situation where Laura gets shot. She's technically dead, but she comes back to life, which is a miracle, but she's a goddess, so that's how it works. That's when she realizes that's when she remembers everything. She is a Shobijin. But yet mix that with her human experiences, this should be rather interesting, shouldn't it? And that's the whole crux of what makes the drama in this thing work. So now let's talk about the Neo-Demons. The Neo-Demons, though most of the demons were killed in the Cosmos War, which is what they call it, their creations known as the Neo-Demons survived. With Mothra's awakening, they too come back to life as programmed to bring about the destruction of the human race. Now let's talk about the individual Neo-Demons that we see throughout the saga. We have Hedora, who was once invisible, but he was mutated when he came back to life by the wastelands of former Earth to become the Smog Monster. Of course, his forms, he has the tadpole, capable of swimming at fast speeds. He has the flight form, the UFO form, we mix a toxic gas that causes lung and skin to burn. It's rather ugly. And, of course, he's in the standing form that's self-explanatory, just like he is in Godzilla vs. Hedorah, except a little more badass. Power shoots a red beam out of his eye, toxic gas capable of reattaching pieces of sludge that have been dislodged from his body, etc., 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 etc. And then there is the Gigan. The Gigan, that's all you ever call him. You don't say, oh, look, it's Gigan. You say, oh, look, it's the Gigan. You always refer to Gigan as the Gigan. And Gigan's story is actually one of my favorites, because the Gigan was once an angel known as Uriel, who became corrupted with Batra because she fell in love with Batra. I got inspired by Harley Quinn, if that says anything, and was transformed into the metallic organic monstrosity that the Gigan is. Powers, flight, saw in the chest, so on and so forth. Now that is a major thing, and I won't get into it, because it'll kind of ruin what I'm kind of working out in my head. And to be honest, I haven't really completely worked it out yet, so that's it. Excuse me. And then, finally, we have Batra, who is the physical form of the head demon. He wants to sync with, I've already discussed this, he wants to sync with the real Batra, and when that happens, boom, it's the end of the world, and life just fucking sucks. And eventually brings out literally the end of the world. And of course Laura saves the day, and so on and so forth. And I won't get into the forms because they're really self-explanatory. The only thing that's different about this Batra, really, in terms of their powers, is that this Batra is fucking huge. It's not like in Godzilla Mothra the Battle of Earth, where they're about the same size. It's literally like Mothra versus Grand King Ghidorah size difference. It's significant. That's what I have down for my Mothra series. I hope you enjoyed. Please let me know what you think. I want this to be the best I can do, because as much as I say that this is for me, it's also for you. So please let me know. Please give me any critiques. Give me advice. It's all welcome. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Leave a nice little comment explaining what you don't like and what you like, or whatever you want. And let me know. Please stay tuned for the conclusion of congratulations, the Neon Genesis Evangelion retrospective. And stay tuned for further updates. So this is Adam Noyce from Adam Noyce saying, sayonara.